Siamo in diretta.
Hi everyone, this is Silvio from Montesecondo in Cerbaia. What you're watching now is a drone view of the estate. It's 11.5 hectares of vineyards and some woods, some forests, some seeded fields, and you probably see a part of the winery. So as soon as this is over, I'll say hello. Non sta andando?
No, basta. Ah, ecco, ora sì. Ora ha ripreso.
Hello? Hi.
Proprio ora.
Go ahead. Yes.
I don't know if you heard me. I don't know if that went through.
Go ahead. Yes, you can start. You can start, please.
Okay, I did already. Maybe it was muted or something. Anyway.
No, it was fine. It was fine.
So
Also,
you're watching the drone view now?
We showed it already. It's already done. So you can
All
start.
right. So now you see me. Hi. Hello. So in Cerbaia, it's a beautiful day. It was rainy this morning, but now we're getting to a better weather. It's windy. We're having a beautiful, beautiful spring. You probably can see some of the, well, you do see them. I'm not so, this is a bit bizarre. But anyway, you see some of the vines here. The whole vineyard here in Montesecondo is raised in Goblet. And what we have started doing this year, which is quite a good improvement, is that we used to tie them pulling up, and that would create a lot of extra work after we get to this stage. I mean, this is still the end of flowering, and then we have what we call chicco di pepe here. But the problem was that, you know, the grapes could get caught up in the canes. But what we start doing this year is that we tie at the top, and then we push it down so that we open the canes, and it's a big improvement. What we will do next is that basically we pass here, and we're going to take the leaves out up to the first grape. So on every cane that has a grape, we will clean up to the first grape. We leave the leaf that's in front of the grape, and that's will make it much better for health and for the maturation, the ripeness of the grapes, because there is more space, there is more air. See, we have now, I'm going to take a few extra leaves just to show you. So we get a nice little room here inside the vine that will help, you know, not avoiding some problems if it gets very, very wet. As I was saying, the beautiful season, beautiful spring. It's been raining quite a lot, but also sun and wind. It's cool, and the plants are doing very well. I'm going to talk a little bit about the soil. We are going to see two different vineyards today, one live and one was recorded this morning, which is where the Montesecondo wines are made. This whole area of the Chianti Classico is basically, not all, but mostly limestone and clay. Here in Cerbaia, there is more clay. We have heavier soils. We have also a lot of these round stones, which is improperly called galestro, but it's really ciotolo. And this is from, I don't know the word, fluvial origin. This was underwater until I don't want to say number because the historical part of this is quite confusing. And when you read about these things, you know, they go from 2 million to 3 million years as it was, you know, peanuts. So it's complicated. Anyway, you later see in another video that the stones that we have in Vignano are quite different. It's what we call galestro, which is properly called galestro. It's very draining soil. Here we have more clay soil. So now we have a good structure here, but it could become very complicated to work with these soils. When it rains, they become completely resistant to water. They don't drain so much. We're going to walk a little bit through the vineyard. These are 5 old vines that are, you know, doing very well so far. We're going to walk through the older part of the vineyard, and then back to the winery. Kevin, are there any questions that are coming already, or should we wait until the end?
We'll try and wait till the end, Silvio, unless
Okay.
there's something that's very important.
So Montesecondo is, as I said before, 20 hectares estate in the commune of San Casciano. Both the vineyards are in the commune of San Casciano. And here is where the Montesecondo wines are produced. For those of you who don't know or don't know with details the estate, it's mostly red wines, Sangiovese essentially. We do also some Trebbiano, a small production of Cabernet Sauvignon, and there is also some Canaiolo, Colorino, and a little bit of Malvasia, which have been replanted 3 years ago. So at this time, the Malvasia is really, really small production, maybe not even 1% of the white wine. But we will get more. So essentially Sangiovese, we have the fresher Sangiovese in concrete. Then we have the Chianti Classico that ages a little bit in oak. And then we have the amphora wine, which are fermented and aged in amphora with the longer skin contact. Talking about a few months for the Trebbiano as well as the Sangiovese. As you can see, the whole vineyard here for this part is all in goblet with bowls, which is it's quite unusual. It's not so usual for this part of Italy. Goblet for me has represented many advantages. It's a little bit of smaller production per plant. It has also the benefits in the vineyard to be single plant supported by a single pole, so there is no wires. Basically, you can look at the vineyard through many different angles and not just through rows. For those of you who are familiar with the Chianti Classico history, tradition here has been for many years to make kind of oaky and concentrated. I think that Sangiovese benefits from a lighter approach, so maybe more acidity, maybe less oak, as I've been doing the last years. And this is for the wines. Now, maybe with the questions later, and I get more answers. Talking about the soil and cover crop, in the last few years, I have tried to leave a natural cover crop without seeding every year. We find some advantage every year. Hello? Kevin?
Era tipo un'interferenza. Forse non ci sono più.
Are we
ma la
on?
registrazione.
Hello?
All good.
You're good? Okay. So I was talking about cover crops. Cover crops, especially in this vineyard, are really important because of the clayish nature of the soil. I alternate seeding and leaving wild cover crop. All right, so I'm saying that I'm alternating seeding, cover crop and leaving also natural cover crops. This year we've done two kind of plowing for the soil. We do very light plowing. We don't go so deep, but we do it. It's important, to get some air through in the soil. Also, if you figure that using the 500 really helps the plant to go with their roots deeper in the soil, and so to acquire more minerality from deeper roots, giving some air and moving we say scratching, grattando the surface. We help the live soil, because air is important. In clay soil especially, it could be very difficult not to ever plow. The terroir is of course made by roots that go deep in the ground. It's made by microclimate, and it's made also by a lively surface. Talking about plowing, because I know that's a big debate, in the natural environment. My personal view is that what is bad is to turn over, but not giving air, because air for me is life, and that's very important. You don't want to have, I don't know the English name, but asfittici, suoli asfittici, that have no life. So this is the way we approach it. We do also different approach to plowing depending on the different lots. We did try something with extremely interesting result this year, which was plowing at two different times of the early spring. This one was plowed very early, around the end of February, beginning of March, as soon as it started warming up. Another one was plowed much later, mid-May, and the results are quite different, because the one that was plowed later is not as developed and as happy as this one.
Silvio,
in terms of
can you hear me?
yeah,
We have a little bit of a problem with the sound because of the wind.
okay.
If you could turn a little bit away from the wind, it might help a little bit.
All right. Getting closer, you mean?
No, well, that would also be probably good. Can you also talk about, you mentioned the natural cover crops versus the seeded cover crops. We know what the seeded ones are like, but what is the natural cover crop like?
Nature will tell you. I mean, whatever comes up.
Okay.
Whatever comes up, and it's always very interesting, because this also is a good sign of what's underneath. Of if you have water problems, if you have water issues, or depending on whether you are in the vineyard, you will see different grass coming up. See, for example, here you have a very different situation than here, or here you have some canes. That is telling me that there is some water there. So I find it very interesting to let it grow. I would like to do that more. In order to do that more, of course, I have to wait until they seed, and then probably flattering them instead of cutting them. Anyway, experimenting and see how the plants react and what happens. I really think that every single vineyard is different, and I have a hard time with general rules. I know that for the winemakers, the growers that have sandy soils, it's a way to treat them. I was watching the very nice video from push. By the way, thank you for doing this, because I say that we should, that one of the good things that this pandemic has brought is I've been able to see some wineries that I have never seen before, like Joao, and Texier stuff was fascinating. So been great. But let's hope this is over soon, because it's nice to see each other also. But anyway,
we should probably go to the Vignano videos. We should probably start the Vignano videos for time.
okay.
So if you can explain what we're going to see in the Vignano vineyards.
All right. Can you hear me well? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna move to a recorded video here now, which is the other vineyard that I farm, which is in Vignano. It's 18 kilometers from here, half an hour. Different soil there, more galestro, the traditional galestro. There we have more limestone, versus here is more clayish. The other one is more limestone, more draining. It's also higher land, around 500 meters, facing east, northeast. So it's a cooler climate, 6 hectares of vineyards, essentially Sangiovese and Trebbiano there.
Okay, we will start, and we'll meet you back at the winery. Okay.
We are in Vignano now. Really looks like it's gonna rain today. And those are the vineyards of Trebbiano that you see right below my house. And this is my little wild sage garden that I planted last year, and it's giving me a lot of flowers this year. Still in Vignano. This is San Martino. We have very good flowering this year. We'll see how it evolves. At this time we're cleaning up a little bit of, the lower canes on the older wood, and we take off the leaves up until the first grape on each cane. Soil here is a lot of limo and quite a lot of this. It's called galestro. Now this is a big example. See, it comes from sediment, and this is typical of the Chianti area. This type of soil presents the great advantage to be draining for the water, so that it doesn't retain the water. At the same time, the origin of these stones are clay, they retain humidity and give the possibility to the plant during the hot summer to have some water. This is also the origin of Pietra Serena. It's a gray stone that you will see in a lot of places in Tuscany that's been used to make staircases. Is that how you call them? And Pietra Serena. All right, this was great. And this is the vineyard of Solatio. Soil here is a little heavier, more clay, less stone, less galestro. Mostly cordone here. plants are happy here too. And this is home in Vignano.
Okay.
Okay, you're good. Yes.
Yeah. I was asking, you want me to introduce the new project now, or shall we do the winery first?
Let's do the winery first, and then we can talk about the new project, okay?
All right, then we have to go walk down the winery.
If it's easier to talk about the new project, we can do that, if it's easier.
Well, yes, it is easier. Yeah. Let's
Okay,
do that
fine.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quick. Yeah. All right, so very briefly, there are a couple of videos about this new project that I want to talk about that was in the drawer for a few years now and that I have started last year. It's about working with different grapes, but mostly working with other producers. So I have teamed up so far with two of them. One is a young guy in San Gimignano, the short video about him and his father. And I've bought some Vernaccia for them. He's organic for a long time. And I am doing some Sangiovese, like the Gazi this year went until this new label. I thought it was more adequate to put it under this new project. So far, 3 wines, which are 2 whites. One is Trebbiano, slightly macerated in concrete tanks. The other one is a Vernaccia that I approached in a very different manner as it usually is. And it's whole cluster, but yes, it's not the stem, but it's not carbonic. I mean, it's crushed. And with about 10 days skin contact and 10 days maceration. So the idea here is really to expand beyond Montesecondo, to venture into other projects, to team up with other producers, and to have fun, basically, create something new. The new label is under my name. I have not brought a bottle, so I know there is a picture of the new labels. It's bottled, it's fun, it's good, so something to look forward to. That's all I want to say for now.
So Silvio, I'll play the video now.
Okay, very good. So we go down to the winery. Credo che siano.
Sì.
Fanno vedere i video?
Sì.
Here we are in Cerbaia, across the valley from Montesecondo, which is right in front of us. And it's a small vineyard that I leased from the Alessi brothers about a year ago. It's about 1 hectare. Soils are very similar to Montesecondo vineyards, with the difference that the exposure here is different. We are facing north and northeast, which will give me cooler wines. The vineyard is 50 years old, was planted in the 70s at the beginning, and was kept in a very family manner for these last 50 years. I'm going to introduce you to Giovanni, who's here with me, and he's the filmmaker today. Hi, we are on the outskirts of San Gimignano, the land of Vernaccia, with Federico Montagnani and his father Pietro, who have managed this vineyard, which was in the family for many decades. And this is the cru where Federico makes his selection, and he has accepted to share it with me. So I buy some grapes from him every year, starting last year, of course, with my new project. And we'll see the vineyards are very well kept. Federico has been farming organic for many years now, and we are at the side of the forest here. And we're gonna meet his dad, Pietro, who's where is disappeared. Vieni Pietro, vieni. Pietro, and now we're going to show Federico. Girati, fai il ritratto. This is Federico.
Ciao.
Federico.
Ok.
Okay, so we had a glimpse. Was that on mute? Hello?
Yes, it was, Silvio. You were muted, so we didn't hear the beginning.
Okay, so that was a little glimpse of this new project, which I'm having fun with. It's also a way to team up with some young farmers and some wine growers who are excited.
Forse non dobbiamo stare lì al
So,
sole.
did you get some pictures of the winery already? Hello?
Yes, we did. We heard the beginning part of your speech in the winery.
Okay, then I'm sorry if I repeat myself, but I don't know where it stopped. So basically, amphora, stainless steel, and concrete vessels for the wines. The two amphora wines, the Trebbiano and the Sangiovese, which are called tea, macerate for about 8-10 months on the skins. The concrete is used for the other wine. So basically the fermentation happens in the concrete and in the stainless steel. The aging is in amphora or concrete. There are also 3 barrels, 1,500 liters each. So very small capacity of wood. Fermentations are on indigenous yeast. There is no filtration. And is it working? Yeah, see?
Yes, yes.
Depending on the wine, of course, the skin contact changes. We do very soft fermentation. The idea is mostly to do infusions more than extraction. I have started working more and more with whole bunches, with whole clusters, crushed, not in carbonic. And very straightforward. Basically, we walk through the wine, we rack we move them as little as I can, and there is some sulfide that's put at bottling, depending on the pH and on the stability of the wine. But that's not a rule. I try to stay as low as possible. If a lot of my wines have no sulfides, even though I don't publicize that, but this is the way it is. Then when we have higher volatiles or there are some issues, of course there is a little more. So it really depends. Even here, like in the fields, I tend to have no rules and play it by ear and try to get the cleaner product and also more stable product.
Silvio, a couple of questions have come up.
Okay, very good.
Between steel and concrete, what is your feeling? Why would you do something in steel and another part in concrete? And how did you come to be able to start to move to the use of a whole cluster with some of the wines?
All right. Steel was the vessel I used at the beginning, and it's very easy to use. It's very easy to clean. I have no sympathy for it, but it works. For fermentation, it's fine. For aging the wines, I would say no. But for fermentation, it works. It works. I would eventually move to concrete to change everything to concrete, but for fermentation, steel is an okay compromise. It's not bad. The concrete is If you age the wine, the difference will be that the stainless steel will close up the wine will sort of retract, the concrete tends to open. It's a subtle difference, but not so subtle after a few months, and you really feel the difference. So stainless steel mostly for harvest time and then out of it. Whole cluster was something I was not very comfortable with a few years ago. And then, you know, by talking to some friends, especially Eric was, you know, a good influence on that. And I started and it's fantastic. It's really, really interesting. It really gives something. I mean, it probably would not apply to every harvest, to every lot of the vineyard, but if you use it well and if you use it at the right place, it's cool. It's very nice. Yes. Yeah. Any other question?
No other ones at the moment. Could you explain what is in the tinaja right now, and that they are tinaja?
They're almost all empty. The wines have been racked. They're in concrete. So there is a few of them that still have some wine. It's either because we did not have room in the tanks, but they are all off the skins now.
And how is the 2019 vintage for you? Can you explain?
It was very similar to 2018. 2018 was sort of like a miracle vintage with freshness, quantity, ripeness, and it was so nice. And a lot of grapes. 19 was similar with less production. But same style of wine, maybe a little more structure. They're starting to show up now. But the Montesecondo that, I don't know, you may have received some bottles already, is really fresh and showing fantastically well. So we'll see.
Back in the vineyard, Silvio, you talked about on the goblet, how many bunches are per cane on the albarello, on the goblet? How many grapes?
We usually leave 3. What we've done we leave the basic one plus 2. Okay. What we've done this year and since last year to fight the frost is that we start off with 2 extra buds, and then we once we feel safe, we pass and cut them. Yeah, that's again. I mean, it depends on the vine. It depends on the the size of the canes from last year and how healthy and well structured. The idea is always to keep a balance between the structure of the plant and what you ask the plant to do. So in general, we would talk 2 + 1. I mean, the Corona 1 + 2.
Great. And people want to know how the situation is there now. Have sales started in the Italian market? Are things opening up? Is it feeling a little bit better?
No. What's happening is that streets are open, people are circulating, but restaurants look very empty to me. I think it's going to take a while. I was talking to Elisabetta earlier, and she said, it's the same thing up there, and people are not going to restaurants. But on the other side, I heard other versions of restaurant on the seaside and on the Riviera that are, having customers. So it's not very good. People look very scared. I heard that New York was opening up today, right? Or yesterday?
Well, sort of. It's just the phase one, so it's not very much that's opening.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
another question though.
It will take some time. I guess is that it will take some time, and well, let's hope for the best. Maybe with the summer coming up, people will relax a little bit and feel more comfortable.
A question is that are all the wines from Vignano and from Montesecondo, are they all made in this cellar?
Yes. Yes. Starting 2018, I started a single vineyard in Vignano, which is called San Martino. It's 2018. It will be released at the end of the year. It's a small production of 2,000 bottles. I am going into that direction, trying to isolate some couple of more lots. I think it's very interesting. It's interesting that you ask that because also the Chianti area is going through a phase where they are doing what is called zonazione. So basically they're going to subdivide the whole area into different communes. And hopefully this will bring more consciousness about the terroir, the soil, and the difference that can be tasted throughout this territory, which has a fantastic potential.
Well, Silvio, I think we'll end it there. Thank you so much for the visit. It was marvelous. It was great to see you. We can't wait until we can see you again in person, either here or there.
Same for me. Same for me.
Yeah. And in the meantime, be well, and we can't wait to taste the new wines as well. Thank you so much. Thanks.
And it was great to do that. Thank you so much, and big hug to all of you, and hope to see you soon. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Thanks.